That is our Leo Sayer Mega Mix. Thank you to Mark Gens for putting that together. Leo Sayer, good afternoon.
I was dancing during that. That was all good. Nice to see you, Dennis.
You nearly drifted into the cabaret
very
act.
nice, yeah.
40 years.
I know, and I'm always surprised. I've got to say, I mean, you know, I don't want to be advertising myself, but it still sounds good. These tracks on the radio, they still sound fresh.
They sound fantastic.
They don't sound like stuck in the past, which is, well, I'm really proud of them, you know.
And just take us back there. Feel Like Dancing. What year?
Yeah, that was 1976.
Yeah, well, they don't sound like they've just been done now.
That's quite funny, isn't it?
It is. I remember seeing you at the Hilton.
Yeah, those were good shows.
They were great shows.
We used to do the cabaret show up there, didn't we? And yeah, it was it just always went off. A weekend night, it would just go crazy. When
you look back over 40 years, do you sort of scratch yourself a bit and go, gee, this has been a good journey?
Do you know, it's funny, I've been in Melbourne all day today, and I'm just thinking to myself, well, you know, a lot of people are talking about the past, and of course, with this greatest hits, and puts you back in the frame, and you're trying to remember how it was in that day, and I remember the Southern Cross Hotel being the tallest building in town, other than the town hall. And basically you could see right outside my window all the way to the sea. And you can't do that any longer. And I kind of think how things have changed and how life's grown and how we've taken it for granted. I mean, this wonderful new building, the 3AW, is in here. And how we take a lot of things for granted when they just grow up in front of us.
And it's always, I mean, and I guess with your career, it's just been going from one good thing to another. And do you often sit back and reflect on things like that? Well,
it's a bit like the graph on one of those old sort of like British comedy TV shows, you know, on the back of the bed, where it's like sort of up and down. Like I wouldn't say that profit and loss has always been equalised in my career. It's been a bit up and down. It's a slippery slope. It goes, you know, you get a good year and a bad year and but the main thing is you hang in there and you believe in what you're doing. And I've always loved this business, and I tend to live in the now. I don't live in the past like a lot of people do, and I don't live always wishing that, thinking, oh well, it'll be all right tomorrow. No, I tend to focus on now and make the best of now. So that's always kept me up and bright.
Now, are you living here?
Yep, I live in that horrible little city called Sydney. It's not as good as here, mate, but you know, I can't afford to live here. No, I'm joking. No, I live in Sydney, and I love it. I live in the suburb of Glebe, and it's nice and sleepy there. Yeah, a bit like Richmond, you know, and it's very cool. I love my life in Australia. There's nothing wrong with it, and not a lot wrong with the place. I don't think.
Would you have had your first vote then?
I certainly did the other day. Yes. I don't know if my vote made a difference, or I might have contributed to the hung parliament, but I don't know. It's funny that I've been through this twice this year, because I've just taken a 4-month trip away, and I sailed on a cruise liner in March to England, the Queen Victoria, and I arrived there just as the election was coming up in England. And it was a similar thing where, you know, they didn't have an advantage enough, so they had to have like a coalition government. Yeah, so the same thing there. I think it's the way the world is now, that it's very hard to decide. We're barracked with so much information. I couldn't get over, as I was walking up to do the poll, just over the road from where my house is in Glebe. And there's all these kind of like forms they give you with your vote already filled in for each party, you know, piece of paper the same scale as what you're going to turn in at the cardboard booth.
Now, do you, Leo Sayer, do what a lot of well-known people do and make sure they take one from everyone, so no one knows who you're voting for? I actually make sure
I reject one from every one of them, because I hate advertising of that kind, and I think, you know, I know what my mind is, and I know which way I am voting, but I suppose some people don't, you know, and there might be a chance of swaying them. But I'm not a great marketing person. I think marketing people are up for shooting personally, but I love the individual thought.
Well,
I think it's very important,
through your talent.